There's really two things people worry about, and it's health and wealth.
I think the biggest thing that I'm seeing is people are finally starting to ask a little bit more, what are they really getting out of healthcare insurance these days? We try to help people find more tailored system, like what really fits their personal need and their budget so that they can actually use it. Why have a plan that you're not going to use?
So people who have money, they want a different level of service. So where, they want to be able to hey, I'm sick on a Sunday. They just want to call somebody and get a fill.
Yep. Now we're in a time where you can be someone who is a lower income level, just a moderate monthly income, to a high income person, still have the ability to have a doctor at their beck and call, in a sense.
Holistic can be really dangerous. If you don't know what you're doing, people will I know people have gotten themselves really in trouble health-wise.
You can go down traditional and get wrapped up and have 50 million prescriptions, and then you can go holistic, and sometimes too much doesn't always mean it's better.
If you could go back and give your younger self advice, what would it be? Welcome to today's PlanAssist Podcast. Today we have a very exciting guest. Before I get into that, I'm Tim Clifford. I'm a certified financial planner, and I have an investment practice here in Winter Garden. And we do these podcasts to help people kind of know what's going on with some of the businesses across the country, but specifically here in Central Florida. And we just have a conversation around what's working, what's not working, what are they seeing. And today I am super excited to have Jennifer Valentin. She's a physician assistant with over a decade of experience in internal medicine, cardiology, dermatology, urgent care, and family medicine. She began her medical career in the U.S. Army Reserve as a surgical technician, earned her master's at the University of Florida, and later completed her doctorate of medicine and science at Lincoln Memorial University. So her path took a turn after facing a serious personal health challenge, which reshaped how she views patient care. Today, she focuses on more personal and proactive approach, helping patients build long-term health through education, relationship, and prevention. So with that, she's in Claremont. You just opened the office there in Claremont right here not that long ago.
Not that long. I just relocated. I've been in Claremont for 2 years, but I just now opened my own little shop.
That's fantastic. So did I miss anything, or did you want to add anything to it?
No, I want to actually make an appointment with that person because it sounds pretty good.
It's rude. When people read off my resume, I'm just like, really? That's a little bit.
I did all that. All right, wow. No, but thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
So, as I said, what I'll do, and I am finding my really sweet spot for getting guests is 1 Million Cup, because everyone's pretty good at doing presentations and kind of want to get information out there. So I've really started to reach out to more and more 1 Million Cup presenters, because they kind of really want to tell their story, and then people really want to kind of hear what's going on, but they can do it kind of at their time and at their leisure. Yeah. And that's really what the goal is.
Yeah, so it was a great experience. I presented about 4 months ago, give or take, and it was great.
It was really a fun experience for me too. I learned a lot from it, because it's even changed kind of the way I talk about my PlanAssist chat. So
there you go.
Anyways, it's been good. So what I sent you email on and we talked is I always start these off with the exact same question, and then we'll just build from there. But the question is if you could go back and give your younger self advice, what would it be?
I think the main thing is literally listen to others and follow those that have succeeded. I think if I look back now, I spent a lot of time trying to reinvent the wheel, or talk to your closest friends and families, and they're great, but they're not always the ones that can really help you when you have a bigger dream. So it has been, for me in the last 2 years, has been looking to follow those people outside of my immediate circle that have been there, done that, and can really teach you a lot faster with a little bit less bumps and bruises along the way.
That's great. That kind of builds off, and I'm not, this isn't necessarily a financial specifically, it's more like business podcast, but as a financial advisor, I wrote a book called PlanAssist, and I have 3 key pillars in it. And it's basically have a plan, be diversified, and seek counsel. And the first two are pretty straightforward. They're pretty objective. If you sat down with 10 financial advisors, you'd probably get very similar answers on the first two. But that
Hmm.
seek counsel, what you just commented on, that is a really hard one. I mean, people really do struggle with that. And that's one thing that I find people who have really built a lot of wealth, they just do it so naturally. And if you ask them that they do it, they don't even realize they do it.
Yeah. And I think some of us that don't have that expertise, I mean, I have, my family experience, both my parents barely made it out of, elementary, no high school, no education, no college. So I'm the first to really have, a little bit of a bigger dream and an aspiration. So there was really nowhere to seek counsel.
Right.
And it's hard until you're really in it. But that has been the thing that has propelled me in the last few years. It's listening to, and a lot of times it's just online books, audiobooks, podcasts, personal development, people who have learned, like you said, to make the big bucks, but not just because they're financially successful, they've been through the hard times and sometimes they've experienced and you can relate. It's like, wow, and they came out. So there is hope. So let me listen and, follow up.
Almost no one I know that's really successful chased money. They
Mhm.
almost always, money came because they became the top in their field, right? So money is that's kind of the visibility of them being experts or top in their field.
Yeah.
Almost all of them, though, were passion driven.
Yeah. And I think that's where it goes because money, you can make money, but I don't think if you're not doing it for the right reasons, if you don't really have a passion, you don't attend to respect it like it needs to be. And then it's
Right.
just here today, gone tomorrow. So it's the passion to serve, at least for me, it has been. And a lot of the people that I've followed, they had a mission, they wanted to get a betterment of something personally or for others. And then that just blew up and led them to the financial success that they have.
Exactly. I think that's
Hmm.
exactly what happens
Yeah.
over and over again. So,
Yeah.
so talk to me a little bit about, tell me a little bit about what you're kind of seeing in the medicine world, because, and I'll kind of set this up for you. And I think we talked briefly about this, but so you can just kind of expand on it on the podcast. One of the things that I find fascinating is what's going on in your industry happened in the financial services industry in the 90s. So we had kind of you had to go to Merrill Lynch, UBS, et cetera, to get to buy and sell trades. It was kind of a closed system for all practical
Okay.
purposes. And
Yeah.
then the 90s came along and companies like Charles Schwab and Company and TD and some of those other companies came along and provided some infrastructure for independent financial advisors to go out and then build a relationship and serve clients on those platforms.
Hmm.
But but then they acted as the advisor. And I kind of see the same thing happening in medicine right now, where, kind of you either work in the hospital system or you're independent. But even if you're independent, you're what would I call it? You're not working for the hospital, but you're connected to the hospital, right? I mean, you have a relationship with the hospital. Is that fair?
And to some degree, I think in traditional, if you're working in a traditional medicine, yes, because you need that connection, sending your patients and whatnot. I think the biggest thing that I'm seeing is people are finally starting to ask a little bit more, what are they really getting out of healthcare insurance these days? What are the benefits? You pay, and I hate to compare, but it's a comparison to your car insurance. We pay every month, and God willing, knock on wood, you go a whole 12 months every year and you don't even use it. But we have to pay it because it covers us in case of an emergency. But you wonder, why are these high fees? Well, why are you paying for insurance sometimes and you're not getting any service out of it? People go months, they don't use it, they don't seek care. They're starting to wonder why. Why is it poor care? It's not preventative, it's more reactionary. You get sick, then you go. So I'm starting to see people ask why that and look for alternatives. And that's where we sort of come in now on the more independent side or the alternative as we try to help people find more tailored system like you would, I guess, in finances, what really fits their personal need and their budget so that
Yeah,
they
no,
can
that's
actually
right.
use it. Why have a plan that you're not going to use? So that's where I'm seeing trend of people wanting to say, hey, what other options do I really have?
So, and what makes like what you're doing? Because I do see more and more doctors going out independent, exactly like you're set up,
Hmm.
and the way people kind of pay for their health insurance, et cetera, is changing dramatically. And a
Yeah.
lot of it's just a combination of cost or service, right? So people who have
Yes.
money, they want a different level of service. So
Yes.
where, they want to be able to like, hey, I'm sick on a Sunday. They just want to call somebody and get filled, right? I mean,
Exactly. Pretty much. And that's where the direct primary care model is a beautiful fit because you can have levels to access people that simply don't have insurance because they can't afford it. And you can go all the way up to those patients that can totally afford it if they wanted to, but now they're paying for a quality, a lot of people say almost like a concierge style service. So they have a doctor in their pocket. So
yeah.
now we're in a time where you can be, someone who is a lower income level, just a moderate monthly income, to a high income person, still have the ability to have a doctor at their beck and call in a sense. And so we're closing a gap and providing a service to both arenas. And I think people are like, wow, I like that. I don't want to have to wait 2 weeks to call in to get seen for a cold that by now is probably healed. They want that, they need that care when they need it. And if they want somebody who knows them, so they're not in an urgent care and things of that nature. So there's just so much more one-to-one personalization with what we offer as direct primary care.
And I think personally, what you just described is exactly where everything's going to go over all the professional services. So the us financial services, the insurance people, the doctors, people want much more personal care. And that personal care, like my doctor's there in Claremont, and I can get a hold of her when I'm sick. That's a big deal. But when I do have kind of a health scare, she's also the one that tells me, go see this person, go get into this person, go do this, right?
Yeah.
And it just
Yeah.
comes, it just makes this, I just feel more confident that I'm going down the right path.
Yeah, we want to create a network. So again, I guess if you look at it with the parallel with financial services, it's a diversification, like you said. I'm the primary care. I should build the relationships with my patients that if they have a need, they're going to come to me, they're going to ask me. But then it's not something that I do in-house. I already have different branches and different areas in which, okay, I think you need this specialist, or I think you just need this person for more on an alternative way, more holistic, an acupuncture, or maybe you do need an orthopedic or you need a chiro. But they're coming to me to have now gotten to know them enough to know what fits their lifestyle and what type of services they're looking for, and then help put them in that right direction.
Yeah, based on what they need, based on what they can afford, based on what their
Yeah.
personalities are.
Yes.
I mean, you almost
Yeah.
become like the captain on a team of experts.
Yes. And
So,
then you know where to serve them, because I'm at no means ever going to be able to take care of everything for everybody's needs, but I should be able to at least say, you know what, this is the direction you need to go. Here's the right person, and something that is going to follow suit with what they want. If you're a person who wants to follow a more traditional suit and you have a hip pain and you know you want surgery, then I'm going to get you in towards that orthopedic. You're somebody who wants to follow more non-traditional, maybe stay away from surgery and try some other options, then we send you down a different road. So it's
yeah, which is perfect.
having those options.
Yeah, that's perfect. So one of the things that I do, and I don't think we talked about this, but I do Medicare also. So it's kind of my outside business activity. And I
Okay.
started it 10 years ago, not so much to build a necessarily a big business in it. I just felt like if I was going to help people with retirement, there's really two things people worry about, and it's health and wealth, right? Those are their two,
Yes.
and there's almost no third. Yeah, I mean, those are almost the first two, and then third is, number five or six. So I thought, well, I need to really understand Medicare if I'm going to help people. So I've really gotten I got about 100, so 120 clients or so in Medicare, and I have to have that conversation with them about what's their personality, what's their financial situation, and kind of what are they looking for, because each one of those plans, it's not that they're going to make a necessarily a bad decision because Medicare is
Hmm.
pretty good. Once you get on it and kind of go through, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But based on your personality, you can do stuff that's better, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and that's the piece that I really have to spend a lot of time and energy making sure that they understand because they'll always say I want the cheapest, but then I'll say, okay, but what happens if?
Yeah. And I think in both our industries, it's education I have found probably is paramount to anything else. Because if people don't understand, then they're just going to base a decision, like you said, maybe what's cheaper, what seems easier. But it's not until they need the service that they're like, oh, wow, maybe that wasn't really the best choice. So I know I spend a lot of time educating people to let them know how this works, whether you have insurance or whether you don't have insurance, because we partner well with insurance as well. But it's knowing if you're going to do that, which are some better options.
And which insurance, right? Because
Yeah.
someone like yourself, you probably partner with people with Medicare. Just use this as an example. But if they have certain Medicare Advantage plans, you don't, right? I mean, I would guess.
They may not. The biggest thing that I have seen to date so far is we can pair well with most PPOs because they accept our referrals and orders and things of that nature. Whereas people that have HMOs, they cannot because they will not accept, we're not an in-network provider. So they won't even, take our orders or anything. So that's one of the main things that I've seen.
Okay. So typically, if they're PPO, no matter which one of the PPOs, they're still a good fit for you guys. They're not a
Yes, as
perfect
long as
fit, but you can make it work is the best way to
it could
word
be, yeah. The biggest
it. Right.
thing is people like to know that if I have insurance and I have to get something outside of the office, like a referral and x-ray labs, can I at least use my insurance for that? Because then they feel like, well, if I'm going to pay into it, at least let me get some use out of it. And so that's where,
That's what I
if it's
tell
a
clients.
PPO, we can. Yeah.
That's exactly what I tell clients to do. I say, if you want
Yeah.
to use a doctor outside, go, but don't do any of the services outside. Don't do x-rays
Yeah.
or anything outside. But in a
Mhm.
perfect world, they'd be on just Medicare in your business model.
Well, my business model, I don't even take Medicare, so I take nothing. So if they had Medicare, and I can't speak enough of knowing what some of the models, don't
Your
cover
model's just pure cash.
pure cash.
And then they can just get reimbursed. It
I don't know about that much. So my basically it's just a cash base. The only way that we do anything with insurance is again being able to use the insurance outside or HSAs. I do know that
oh,
people that
good
have an
point.
HSA, they
They,
can use their HSA to pay for their monthly memberships or any services. But I'm not 100%. I did speak to someone in here that there may be some insurances that allow people to submit their monthly membership for reimbursement, but I can't really speak to that.
so
I'm not
some.
100% sure
So
since I
why
don't do
don't you
that.
tell us a little bit? Why don't you go in before I go down too far down a path that doesn't fit your model? Why don't you spend a few minutes just telling us a little bit about kind of who your clients are and some of the challenges that particular group has, and then some of
Hmm.
the opportunities.
Yeah. So my ideal clients, so to speak, are your average family. We do children to adults. So it's your average family that maybe just a little bit above that Medicaid and they really can't, but maybe a family of four can't afford a 15 or, 1,500 or $2,000 monthly premium to cover themselves and their kids, but they need some type of healthcare coverage and they want some type of care. And that's where I could come in. They pay a much reduced lower monthly fee and you've got mom, dad, and the kids all covered, or somebody who just wants to handle things more naturally and knows that their insurance isn't going to cover holistic or alternative medicine, that's where I come into play.
And so they just pay a flat monthly fee to you, and
Yeah.
then if they have an issue, they call you.
Yes. So they would have unlimited access. That means telehealth or in-person visits. They just got a cold. They think they might need to come in. They can just text and get answers. So it builds that one-on-one direct relationship and that plays through whatever it is they need. They also get their yearly physicals. We do their lab work, we analyze that. So all of the what you would think of traditional primary care.
And is your practice like mine's a solo practice, so people
Yes,
just talk to me. So it's the same
it's
kind of
just me.
setup
Yep.
actually as kind of what I do, only it's in the medical field.
Yep. You deal with their money and helping them get the best, get return for their investment, so to speak. and I do the same. They're investing in their healthcare, and my goal is to help them stay healthy and get the best outcome. I focus on lifestyle and things like that.
So what do you see as some of the biggest challenges?
I think it's a couple of things. The main thing is awareness. I think we have been programmed to believe that everybody has to have insurance and the only route to go is insurance. So when people call and say, "Do you take insurance?" and I say no, sometimes that just closes the door. So it's education and people feeling like comfortable with not having insurance and still being able to come in and then being able to afford the services. Sometimes that's a little bit of my insurance won't cover, or my insurance will cover this, so why should I pay out of pocket? So it's education, I think, is the main thing.
But what happens if they don't have insurance and they do have an emergency, so
And
they break
yeah,
their leg? How's that work?
yeah, that would be sort of almost like anybody who's uninsured. I mean, if you broke a leg or major medical, then yeah, you're going to the emergency room and dealing with possibly putting on a patient payment plan, things of
I
that
got it.
nature. But I've learned that a lot of times if you go in on a cash base, insurance or the hospitals will work with you better than if you have insurance. They'll give you cash related prices and reduce your services to try to work with you.
Okay.
So, those are that is the one, I would say 10% of things that I can't handle, anything outside of the office. But if you're taking care of yourself and doing preventative maintenance, 90% of the things, unless it's an emergency, is going to be preventative and you're going to be able to prevent those ER visits.
Right. And so most of my clients are retired. So they're
Hmm.
going to have, even if they have just basic Medicare, they could still afford what you do as an extra service because sometimes they can't get in to see doctors, right? So they'd still have
Exactly. Yeah.
Medicare. If they have a really major health crisis,
Yeah.
it's
Well, and
covered, but the kind of day to
I do have a
day,
handful of people that choose to do that. They have their insurance. Yeah.
I'll bet, yeah.
They have their insurance and they choose to still pay for their monthly membership because they feel like it's reasonable enough to get into that call where they can be seen. I usually can see person between same day or next day. They're either going to
Cuts
be
here,
able to
yeah.
do telehealth or an in person. So a lot of people pay for that convenience and then just again hold their insurance for emergencies.
That's as a financial advisor, that's what I would tell them to do. I'm all about managing risk. So I'd say you better have insurance, but you could have like a major
Yeah.
med policy of some sort, right? And just
Yes.
in case you ever have some huge issue you have to deal with, you're at least covered for that.
100%. And I'm not opposed to insurance. I'd be the first people ask me, and that's why I tell them look for like a catastrophic major medical. I've heard things with indemnity. Have something because you never know. And I understand that part. But then, it's like
The day
a
to
friend told
days,
me
you.
once, yeah, car maintenance. You pay for your car insurance, but you are still responsible for your day-to-day maintenance, the oil, the gas, all that. So let me be your maintenance plan, so to speak. And then you have your insurance for major problems.
That's awesome. That's a good analogy. So let's talk about my fun subject is AI. So how do you see that happening kind of in your world? Are you starting to adopt it? Are you starting to see it adopted? And then how's that kind of happening in your world?
I am seeing it more. I wasn't, I'd say probably even 6 months ago. I'm still fairly new to the whole AI world, but I am seeing it grow, especially where I'm using it more now too, is in like patient notes and dictating. You can have an AI service that's sort of on there like your transcriptionist. So
Uh-huh.
it's helping you. So it's getting an accurate record of exactly what happened in the room. Then it can translate that over to a note. You just preview it, review it. And so cutting down the hours that we used to spend in the hospital dictating notes and charting and stuff. So that's huge. But also in just helping educate people and get them more resources. There's a lot more things you can give patients. And AI is really helpful with things like that, creating programs and educating them.
That's how I use it in the investment world. I see it as a very powerful education tool.
Mhm.
Like, because I do think experts are going to become more experts because of AI, because AI will constantly kind of become sycophants where it'll start just agreeing with you on everything. I like it when my clients kind of go in and kind of do some research and then kind of spend some time kind of having an opinion and then I can have a conversation about it. And sometimes I need to help them kind of change it, but a lot of times I don't. A lot of times I'll just kind of keep pointing them in the right direction and kind of make them reframe the questions, maybe the best way to word it.
Yeah, I think if we understand that it's educating and it's working together. So, giving them the best information possible to make the best decision, whether it's a financial or healthcare, why keep information, the more educated, the better chance they're going to make, a good solid decision.
The productivity gains that we're going to see in the next 5 years is just going to go through the roof. In fact, they said,
Yeah.
I can't remember where I saw this statistic, but they said the fastest growing segment of jobs is solopreneurs, people who like you and I, that
Mm-hmm.
we're across the world. That is literally the fastest growing segment in the
That's
economy
interesting.
as far as jobs, people that'll start their own businesses and be just them, right? Now they may have,
Yeah.
some 1099 people in and out and
Yeah,
kind of go through
later.
a
Yep.
process, but for the most part, it's not multiple people. It's just one person
Yeah.
and they kind of build their whole expertise around that process. And AI is almost perfect for that.
Yeah, well, I'm learning now. Again, I'm not that savvy of it yet, but like I've heard people, instead of virtual assistants, sometimes you're so much you have like a right-hand man, so to speak, in your AI. If you're trying to create a program or you're trying to put something together and you just have to kick some ideas back and forth with someone, you can put it into AI and just see some information and work through processes. A lot of times that's what we need as solopreneurs is just that other ear. And AI is really serving and can put programs and things together that we design it, but we just need to tweak it and AI can come along and help you do it in a matter of seconds.
Exactly. And I don't look to it to give me answers. I look to it to give me options. Yeah,
Yep.
I look to
And
it to
just
give me
help tweak things.
tweak things because I still want my voice. I still want it to be me,
Oh,
but
100%. Yeah.
but it does give me a lot of flexibility, but it does also increase my productivity. Just I can't even believe how much more productive I am today than
That's
I
what
was,
I'm
say,
trying to
three
do.
years
Yeah.
ago.
I'm
I
trying to learn
mean,
how to use it for productivity. When I'm by myself and I'm just trying to create a program, I know exactly what I want it to say, what I want it to do, and I can speak it and have it help me clean it up. And the hours of putting it, of making sure everything's lined up and things, AI can just help those things of creating your ideas. It's still taking your information. You're the creating the expertise of what you want. It's just helping you give you an idea of does this look better or does that? Do I go right or do I go left?
exactly. One of the
Yeah.
most powerful AIs that I've seen is a tool called Whisper Flow, but it's WISPR, right? So it's Whisper and then Flow. But I've seen lists. It's in the top 10 in the world, right? This isn't like some fringe AI tool,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the first one that lets you can put it on all your systems. So I have it on my computer, I have it on my phone, I have it on my two computers. So I have one at home. And what it does is you push a button and
Uh-huh.
you dictate in. But on most of them, when you dictate in, it's taking exactly what you say, right? And then
Uh-huh.
it puts it into the pro. What Whisper Flow does is it rewords it. So if you say uh you say and three times.
Uh-huh.
In most of the programs, it'll copy those. In Whisperflow, it will not. It'll
Oh,
take
okay.
all those out. It'll clean up the.
Clean
It'll
up.
act. It'll actually give you a clean document that you can, but you still have to read it because it's not perfect because it'll get some
Yeah.
words wrong or something like that. But I do find of all the AI tools that I have messed around with, that is by
Mm-hmm.
far the best one. I mean, like
To check it
it's
out.
just
I had never heard it. Check it out.
yeah. Especially for you as a doc. So like if you put like when you're doing your dictating, it'll
Mm-hmm.
make your dictating it'll double the cleanness of your dictating
Yeah, and
because
see, that's why I think AI, because I'll be one to admit at first I'm very scary because you see all the negativities and people using it wrong.
yeah.
But I think if we learn to use it right as a tool, I mean, we're not using it to do the work for us, but if we use it as a tool like anything else, then it can help us to clean up our thoughts and put what we want out there and create the content. But we have to make sure that our underlying idea is still ours. The main focus of what you want to do is still ours.
And you and I are both very regulated businesses, so we have to make
Hmm.
sure that we're not sharing private information. So it's
Yes.
not, now that I say for you to dictate, because see, when I use it for dictating clients, I'm just dictating basic information. So I'm not giving names, birthdays, social security number. I don't give anything out. You
Yeah.
may not be able to because of HIPAA, right?
Yeah, so the platform that I use, that's where they're already incorporating the EMR, the medical records that is HIPAA compliant and all, is already has an integrated
Yeah, you're
AI
not gonna
in
be
it.
able to use that.
That the one inside my EMR I can because it's already
Exactly.
HIPAA compliant. Yeah, but not a third party. Yeah.
Yeah, so something like that won't work for you. But a year from now, what you're using will do what this one does, almost guaranteed, right?
Possibly, yeah. They keep changing before you know it. It's always advancing and improving. So,
Yeah,
but it is true. It's just it's finding the right balance where sometimes, using AI appropriately, securely, things
exactly.
like that to be able to
And
service and
yeah,
help us.
that's the piece that I stay really focused on is what can I use it for? What can I use it for compliantly? You know what I mean? And there's a lot of stuff you can't use it for that, so
I know
so
you got to be so careful, especially like you said, in compliance wise. I mean, there's sometimes things that you don't even think of that you need to be aware of that
right.
our websites or social media, all that stuff can do. So you have to be
You
extra
accidentally put
careful.
someone's birthday out there, or you accidentally put, something, you got to be really careful because
Yeah.
that's probably what I would say the biggest challenge for me with AI is you can't push it kind of as hard as you'd like because you really can't do it compliant wise. You know what I
The
mean?
regulations, yeah. You got to
Right
make
by
sure. Yeah.
regulations, our world's compliance, yours, that's the same word for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just making sure that you're, like they say, what, dotting the I's and crossing the T's and not letting anything get out there that shouldn't get out there.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
so kind of like to kind of finish up, why don't you tell us kind of a little bit about kind of where you're at there, and then what you see kind of growing. How's kind of you're there? Are you downtown Claremont? So just tell us kind of as a
So I am now, I was renting a small place right off near the hospital, but I am now in downtown Claremont. So I have a freestanding,
that's
it's a
nice.
small home that they turned into a clinic. So it's just a perfect fit because it's that homey feeling that I really want to give my patients.
Uh-huh.
So in here, we cater to, yes, the direct primary care and offering those day-to-day services, but also a lot of wellness services that can be obtained by whether you're a member or not a member, like your IVs and your vitamin shots and weight loss and hormones and aesthetics, all of those things that still people are looking for and needing, but they're in a more holistic and natural approach, and we offer those. So our my goal now is to really get outreach to the community, participate in some of the Claremont events, and let them know, hey, we're here, and these are the array of services that we offer and how we can
Without
help.
being a member, so you could come in
So
and get
all
an
of the
IV.
yeah, the wellness services can be for anybody that wants them. They're just, there's a member gets discount, non-members can still get the wellness services. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I do that IV thing up down in Winter Garden. I'll have to take a look at yours.
Yeah. Yeah. We do IVs. We do like just your vitamin D, vitamin B, things that you can be low on. Some people just, I have people that are going to travel. They don't want to get sick on the plane. They'll come and get like an immune boost, just a quick shot to help boost their immune system. So a lot of things that stay with staying healthy. We have natural healthy supplements. If people are asking the questions, what should I be taking or what can I use with my day-to-day routine? So we really help on all those aspects.
So if someone's holistic, you're like the perfect fit for that group, right? So you'll do the regular doctor stuff, but if you have a kind of tilt towards holistic, that's more the fit.
That's where my focus is right now is really that, what we say, the lifestyle and functional medicine, get to the root of the problem, not just doing a quick prescription for a band-aid approach. But if it's somebody that's been on a blood pressure medicine for years and they just want to be a member and they need to get their meds filled, I can do that. So I bring both a fully holistic approach, but I can integrate it with traditional if and when needed.
And the traditional is more the reason they do it. I don't mean to put words in your mouth, so you can just correct me
Yep.
if I do, but the traditional is more that person who just wants access, right? So it's probably more, I would put me in the more traditional, right? I want access to someone when I need to make a phone call or I want someone
Yeah,
I
it
can get a
gives,
hold of and meet. And then that's a perfect fit for that group. And then the other group that is a little more focused on holistic, then that's also a really good option. So that they don't go find themselves, because holistic can be really dangerous. If you don't know what you're doing, people will take, I mean, I know people have gotten themselves really in trouble health wise by taking too much, of some kind of a supplement or
oh yeah, it can be. I think it's just, I mean, it's two sides of the coin, so to speak. You can go down traditional and get wrapped up and have 50 million prescriptions, and then you can go holistic, and sometimes too much doesn't always mean it's better. And I've had
yeah,
to
exactly.
correct some patients and have them bring in literally bags of supplements and say this doesn't go with this, or this doesn't two times this amount doesn't mean it's any better. And so it's again, it's educating and then making sure that if most people sometimes are on at least some type of traditional medication, well, you better make sure that they're both being able to be taken. I just recently, to tell you real quick, just had a patient that's on thyroid medicine and started on her own a natural supplement that she got online on Amazon that overall is very good. But because of the medication she's on, it is highly recommended you do not take it. So it's being able to look at both sides and help people decipher what they need and make sure they're being safe.
It goes back to how we started this call. It goes back to seek advice. Really,
Yeah.
people have to get good at having conversations and being
Yes.
curious and going to expertise and then going down some path. You can't just go down any path. As a lawyer, as an
Yeah.
insurance person, as a financial advisor, as a health professional, you really want to make sure you do have somebody that you connect to that kind of can pull you back in and make sure you're
Yeah.
not just going down some weird rabbit hole that can be really unhealthy.
No, it's true. I think it's not a one size fits all. And I think I tell my patients my goal is to be part of their team. It's a team effort. It's about them. It's what they need. But I'm here to hopefully serve as that guidance and that direction. So if they're getting too far off or they need that assistance, then I'm here to help them. But ultimately it's your own health. You have to be aware of what you're doing. And so educate so that you make good choices.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, to finish up, do you have anything you want to add? But before you kind of do, give us how do they get a hold of you? So to reach out to you, can you give us kind of your website
Sure.
and contact
Yeah.
information?
So, yes, if they would like to reach out, they can do so by giving a call to the office or go directly to my cell. That's 321-238-8048. Or they can also go to the website and fill out a request to connect. And that's going to be www.superiorhealth and spelled out and wellness DPC for direct primary care.com. So those are the
Awesome.
best two ways that they can reach out. And we can set up a free consult if anyone just has some questions to make sure it's the right fit for them because it's not for everybody. And I understand that. I'll just answer your questions. And if I can help you, I'll let you know. And if I can't, hopefully you just have a little more knowledge when you leave.
And and even if it's not a fit today, that doesn't mean it's not a fit tomorrow or a year
Exactly.
from now, right? I mean,
Life circumstances change. 100% life
understanding
changes.
what's out there sometimes is just as important as, making a change today.
I think 100% because at least you'll know that if your life situations change tomorrow, I mean, look at what's happened recently with all the Kroger employees that were here. I mean, they might have had insurance last year and now losing their job. All of these people don't have insurance. And so knowing that, hey, there might be something out there that fits your budget and still doesn't leave your family uninsured or without some type of healthcare coverage, it's again, it's information.
That's awesome. Yep, I agree with you 100%. So, anything you want to finish on or have any closing remarks?
No, I mean, I think the best thing that I could tell people is, be aware of your health. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Seek help if it's not for myself. I know there's multiple direct primary cares now in the area. We're here to help and give you the best tools to take care, more preventative. Try to take care of your lifestyle so that we're not living our golden years, as they say, as we get a little older, just filling out prescriptions and making doctor's appointments when you want to sit out and go enjoy your family and friends. So positive, life choices now will make a huge impact later.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. And then I'll close with it
Hmm.
comes back to plan assist is a process, and I built it around have a plan, be diversified, seek counsel. And if you're doing it for financials, that's still important. And when I say have a plan, I'm not saying have a 45-page PDF document. I mean, just be clear on where you're at. Do a self-analysis of, okay, well, this is where we're at, whether it's at your health or your finances, and then get a clear understanding of where you want to go. So when I'm talking about have a plan, that's what I mean. The diversification is just you can't put everything in one place, and it also includes health, but it includes financial services. And then lastly, I think the hardest of the three is seek counsel, and that's just be curious, ask a lot of questions, and do consultations, sit down with people and say, here's what I'm doing, or utilize, AI to get some good questions to sit down with people like Jennifer and I and ask questions.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that is great.
So good. So with that, thank you everyone and have a great afternoon or great morning, wherever you're at.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Bye bye, everybody.